Ready or not, here I come now. Let's play hide and seek. Prepare to be caught. Here I come now. Let's play hide and seek. Riding on the playground, no mountains to make a sound. Round and round and round and round. No one wants to be first found.
Isn't it ironic, don't you think? Well, I do. Because the coach is retiring, or not retiring, he's going somewhere else. Mexico or New Mexico or something. Crazy. So, let's get into this.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here again. It wasn't that long ago, just 13 days in fact, that we gathered here in this room so I could introduce someone very special to all of you, Fernando Lobo, our new Vice President and Director of Athletics. When I introduced him, I told you that he was the right choice to lead Lobo Athletics and help forge an amazing future for our programs. Well, we certainly put him to work right away, don't you think? Barely a week into the job, he was tasked with the big job of finding us a fantastic new football coach. And barely a week after being handed that challenge, Fern has done exactly that. Is it any surprise? This is what Fern does. It's why I'm proud to have brought him to the University of New Mexico to oversee our athletic department. He's exactly the leader we need for moments like this. And now, after only 17 days on the job, Fern Lobo has brought us the leader we need for the University of New Mexico's football program. I'm pleased to be here with him this morning to introduce you to our new head football coach, Jason Eck. Now, I was going to say don't applaud yet because I'm going to let Fern tell you more about him first and what it took to bring him here. But I do want to say you're all in for a treat. Besides his proven record of success both on and off the field, Jason brings to coaching the very same defining traits that Fern brings to the job as AD. In fact,
She looks like she's about ready to say, fuck off. Does she know? Does she know about what the football players do at the University of Idaho? How they go up and beat up on people? And then they don't admit to it, and then they don't get in trouble? And that the coach basically is a huge part of that? He has to be, because he's the one that, those are his boys, right? Does she know about this? Sure she does. Because that's exactly why he's there. In my opinion, pure speculation. Okay, where everybody's retiring in and around this case because they've got to, because of us, because of what we're bringing to the plate and what they are seeing us bring to the plate, and they don't very much like our dinner. I think they kind of feel like they're being force fed, which they don't have to be force fed. They could have told the truth from the very beginning, Just like the rest of it's easy to do. It's easy to tell the truth. It's hard to keep a lie. The truth is easy. You never have to lie if you tell the truth. Because you never have to worry about covering up or telling a lie over a lie after lie after lie. And that's what they've done. And they have dug themselves a hole so freaking deep that it's like, they're going to be, we're going to watch them. We're going to watch them all crawl out of that hole and transfer somewhere else to retire or whatever. We're going to watch all of those little, what do you want to call them? Call them just about anything right at this point. Sleeve stacks. That's my favorite because those things scare the shit out of me and those things are gross. Sleeve stacks, crawling up, mole people crawling up out of them. Remember that? Yeah, that was gross. And I always was worried whenever I was in sand if there's any black sand anywhere, if it's going to, like take me down into the ground, like start, swirling around and like, oh man, when I was little, I did not like that. That's the only thing that scared me really is the sleeve stacks. And that's how I feel these people are. I mean, they do everything in the dark, right? It's all under the cover. Covert. Narcissistic. Sociopathic. I mean, and you know what? I bet you all schools are like this, but I'm not looking into all schools right now. This is the one I'm looking into. And I see other ones. Yeah, I do see those. And I become very aware of them, and I do research and stuff on them. But this is the one I'm concerned about because it is so, man, oh my God. It is so corrupt by so many people. But when you narrow it down, you put them in this big pot. You take all these people and put them in this pot, right? Like a salad spinner. Put them in a salad spinner. And you spin that baby. And when it stops spinning, there's going to be maybe 4 separate groups. Because all of them are related. And I shit you not. I shit you not. Good old Corey Hatrock. She married a fella before she was with Ben. And that fella's dad's dad, like his great-grandpa, or his grandpa, married a Gunderson. So Maddie Mogen's great-grandmother is a Gunderson. In a roundabout way. Her step, that way. But Corey's kids their grandma's a Gunderson. And that's not even diving deep. There's some stuff in here, you guys, it will blow. I mean, I just don't even, that was a simple one right there. Not simple and getting into all that stuff. I have people helping me too. I have a really great woman that's she's so great. I love her dearly. And we get on these brain things and just get going. And it's like, oh my God. I mean, it's like a Tasmanian devils all whipping around each other. Because I'm looking at one thing and she's looking up another, and pretty soon they all come together, man. And we're like, what the effing is going on, man? Wow. And it is like, wow. Okay, you guys remember I'm on prednisone right now. Prednisone, I always call it prednisone. So I'm a little amped up right now. But I mean this amp right here. This is an amp coming from me that would have been coming from me whether I was on this, had to take this stuff or not. Because this is what in their minds do they not know they're actually saying right out to us? That right here, what they're doing, they're admitting to it. This is a way of admitting. I mean, in my opinion, that's what it feels like to me. I mean, not to themselves. I mean, they think they're still being sneaky and they're going to get away with everything. I hope not, because that makes it, that's really, wow. I mean, if they think that, then they can't be too smart doing what they're doing anyway. And they're obviously it's a greed and power. And it's just, oh my God. When I saw this the other day and I didn't put it up. I actually was watching the other one. It's Tubs in the Clubs or something like that. It popped up on my news feed. And I watched that one. And then when I was going to record that one today, this popped up. So I figured I'd play a little bit of this. So I have not seen this one. And I only got into a little bit of the other one, but it was, 2 or 3 days ago. And I started making the video, as I always do, start making the video. And then, so I don't know if this is up already or not, because every time I make a video, someone else puts it up before I do, because I don't get to it, because I have so many damn videos I haven't finished. So I'm going to start going through there, and I'm going to be whipping some stuff out, you guys, right and left. So be prepared, because you're going to get hit with a bunch of videos. And usually when I do that, they don't get a whole lot of views, because there's just so many all at once. But my thing is I need to get this stuff out there. I want it off my phone, so I can make other things and go back to my beginning videos. People have been commenting on those, and I'm going in. Before I would go in and I'd just comment back to them, and I would not watch the video per se. I'd not necessarily watch it, and maybe I'd peek at it or whatever to refresh my memory. But but I've been watching them the whole video, and wow, there's some good stuff in there. I was like, whoa. And the one the other night, I was like, I forgot about. I mean, I didn't forget all about it. I had been looking for that video, but I had forgot that I had put color on it. So I was looking for a black and white one in my collection, and not one that had color. And so, thank goodness this woman commented on it, and I went in and I commented back after I clicked on the video, and I'm like, oh my God, I went and thanked her and everything, because it's like, wow. Oh, and guess what else? There's a woman in one of my comments who says she's got the whole Grub Truck chat on video, and I commented to her to see if she possibly had it, but I don't think I've gotten a reply yet. So I'm hoping, oh my gosh, I'm hoping that she still has it, because this was like a year ago, and I hadn't. This is my problem. See, when I first started, I was so overwhelmed that I didn't even go, and kind of afraid too to go look and see comments, because I just didn't know what to expect. And they're all so nice for the most part. And so I'm so sorry, you guys, if I did not go do that and I did not feel like I was connecting with you. I apologize for that. A lot was going on then. Lots going on now, but then it was really a little bit more difficult for me to do that. Here it's a little easier, but it's still difficult. But neither here nor there. I'm trying my best, and I just appreciate all of you. I appreciate your comments, and if I don't get to them, please know it's not you at all. It's me. It's me. Not. I mean, so you guys. I get like, in an average day, I probably get about. And this is just an average day. At least no day's probably been less than 50 comments on, and that's when I don't even make a video. So then make a video and then the comments. And I have 200, 300 comments, sometimes higher, a day. And trying to keep up with those, oh man, there's no way. So please know that I love you guys, and thank you so much. Appreciate you. And my kitty's got a craving. My cat, I don't know about you guys. Does your cat like coffee? I had to Google it, and they're like, no, cats like the smell of coffee, but they shouldn't have coffee. And so I'm like, oh, great. My cat's trying to... Well, how I figured it out is I spilt a little bit on one of the little blankie things I had on the seat back here, and I got out of the car and I was doing something, and I came back and she was licking it clean, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And and then she was looking for more in my cup, and I'm like, "Dude, girl," I'm like, "You can't be drinking this." So anyway, I went and Googled it, and sure enough, she shouldn't be, but I mean, they can have like teeny weeny. They love the smell of it too. So it's kind of like almost a catnip kind of thing for them, which I had no idea. None whatsoever. So anyway, there you have another little, sorry you guys, I'm going to be like this. I'm going to be like squirrel all over the place for like, it's a full round of it. It's sort of the kind that you take like 6 the first day, 6 for the first 3 days, and then it goes down to 5, then 4. And it's a graduate type, I don't know. I don't know if they call it graduating your medication or something. Anyway, so I'm going to be talking a mile a minute. So sorry, slow me down in the settings. I can't help it. It's just the way it is when I'm on that stuff. And I have to, because you can hear my voice right now. And I've been on it I only had it for a day so far. So the first 3 days are usually the worst with me. So just be prepared. And I get a little weird in my videos, like I did one of them that I already... It's a police report, and it's actually kind of funny, but I think it's funny. But anyway, it's different. Okay, I'm going to get back to this, and I'm going to shut the heck up. Well, for a little bit anyway. Let's see what else she's got to say.
Just joy and nearly boundless enthusiasm. This is an exciting new era for Lobo football. And while there are certainly challenges ahead, especially in this strange new world of athletics and college football, I feel comfortable in assuring you that there will be dancing in the locker room before you know it, led by our new coach himself. It's such a pleasure to welcome him and his family to our community. To tell you more about our new coach, it is my privilege to bring to the podium the hardest working Lobo in the business, the man who spent these last 2 weeks in constant motion, Vice President and Director of Athletics, Fern Lobo.
Sorry, it's a coffee.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, 13 days, huh, President Stokes? I didn't realize that it was only 13 short days, but
Pat yourself on the
no,
back
it has
there, buddy.
been quite the whirlwind, and just so honored to be here again in front of each and every one of you today. So thank you very much, President.
You don't think they had that freaking thing planned? They didn't. They only gave it those few days just to, to make it look good, Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was planned way beyond. Really crazy stuff, man.
Stokes for the great comments and remarks. And while I've only served as your director of athletics for a few weeks, 17 days, I think, to be exact, as you said, I am already just so grateful for your support and your partnership. It's clear that Lobo Athletics is important to you and your vision for the university. So thank you. I will forever be grateful for this opportunity to join the Lobo family. And I want to thank all of you for being here today and coming out on a weekday right before the holiday to be part of this exciting day for our university. And I want to thank all of you for being here today and coming out on a weekday right before the holiday to be part of this exciting day for our university. I also want to thank our football student athletes. As you know, they've been through a lot the last few weeks, but they've continued to demonstrate great character and resiliency. Many of our players shared insight with me at the start of the search on what they would like in their new football coach, and I never lost sight of that during the process.
We'd like a coach that turns a blind eye to us crashing parties, not just crashing them, but making sure we get in there, and if we don't get in there, then we show them how we feel about it. Because we tote, we have in hand, come on, you guys, broken PVC piping, wearing those ski masks, with the mouth and the eye holes, baseball bats, whatever they probably could get their hands on, and then beating up somebody if they don't allow them into their party because they're football players. I mean, right? Aren't they what makes that school even get in motion? I mean, aren't they the reason why that school's there? That's how they act. So that's what I would love to see that list of what they asked for. And you know what else I'd love? And I don't even know if this is even possible. I don't even know if there is a coach out there that's not corrupt and have to kiss the feet of the higher ups here that make these things right. I mean, everybody's kissing everybody's, everybody, except the football players and the fraternity and the sororities. Oh my God. I just watched a video I did with Jake Ferris the other day when he was on, him and that Max and Mies. It's the girl he goes and talks on campus. They have like a spatula they use. It's like a microphone. And they ask questions. And one day it was like something about how was your poop this morning, or what was your poop like, and how would you rate your poop, your bowel movement? But they didn't say that. They said shit or whatever. And anyway, eventually the campus police came up and because someone had called in, they were uncomfortable with these questions, right? And being filmed while asking these questions because he's filming the whole thing. And the campus police asked him for his name, and he outright refused to give his name. And then I'll have to play it because this just the way he said it. He then said, he actually outright said it. I'm not going to get in any trouble. You just go ahead and try. I don't get in trouble. And it was like, whoa, it was crazy. And then the cop that came up, because then the Moscow PD was on the way, and the cop that came up happened to be a Marine and just loved to talk about himself. Oh my God. Jake had him eaten out of his hand, or vice versa, whatever it was. They were eating each other up. I don't know what it was. But, it was downright grotesque. And just it was like a wow moment, because that's why the previous dean of students, because now there's Eccles in there, right? Not is it Eccles? Dean Eccles? No, what's his name? The news. Well, he's been there for a while, but the last one, he lasted. Some say 3 months, some say 4 months. He resignated. He put his resignation in, and his reasoning for it. So this was right around one of the really bad hazings that they had, where they let the kid. It was awful. I mean, it was just awful what they did. This kid, he's the one that is left now in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He can't talk. He can't eat by himself. He can't do anything by himself. He really can't even speak because of their actions before, during, and after the hazing. I mean, they dropped him. They let him slide off the couch onto his head and left him there on this cold basement floor while they all partied around him and kicked him and smacked him in the face to get him to wake up, and let him soil himself and throw up on himself. And then they just left him down there while they all went to bed, after the fact. And he was like, I mean, and then they tried to move him, just like they do. That's part of the thing here, you guys. If they can get away with it, they will not make it to where anybody knows that whatever happened to this person, these kids, happened in a frat house on campus. They have to move them off campus, or somewhere where, let's say the Paradise Creek, for instance, under the bridge, for instance, in a car out off of Mountain View Drive, for instance, which is really odd because that's where Dave Trail, where his property is, and Dave Trail is the one that funded that Sigma Chi house that they're in right now. Dave Trail. And that's where all of his property is, on Mountain View, out North Mountain View Drive Road. And that's where these people were left on November 13th. 2 of them. Going through the motions of an overdose. If you hear me pounding on something, I've got this thing in my hand. I probably should just take it out of my hand, because I don't even know I'm doing it. I just realized I was doing that. Sorry. And Dave Trail, if you remember, he was the murders that happened 7 years prior, about 7 years. He was one of the guys that was murdered. He was a large landowner. He had apartments. He was an insurance guy, very well loved in the community. He actually, when I read his stuff, he's the only person I've ever read anything on in that whole freaking town. Anything I've ever read, he's the only one that I actually feel like I believe actually had good in his heart. Yeah, seriously, the only one. Eddie's talking. He's like, hello? 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 Can you hear him? What? Hello? Outside, and he has different. He says, "Hello, hello." He's like, this is meow, but it sounds like he's literally saying hello, hello. And he gets adamant about it, man. If you don't, oh my God, that cat can get loud. But anyway, so they move him. And so Dave Trail, like I was saying, that Dave Trail was one of the guys that, oddly enough, the guy that killed him was a tenant of his. His name was John Lee. And wouldn't you know that everybody knew who this guy was. They knew him. In fact, the chief of police at the time talks about him in an interview that Sean Cohen did, the same time he interviewed James Curtis Leonard's wife and the daughter in that trailer park. He talks to the ex-chief of police, right before that. Not only that, but he also talks with Fry at a parade. Fry talks about the door being open. But yeah, and the guy, the ex-chief of police, he's like, yeah, I knew him very well. I know him very well. I know the whole family. So there's a lot of Lees up in this case, which is interesting. And so James Curtis Leonard, the guy that he shot and killed, he was a Lee. I think it was Tyler Pace, Pace, Lee. And the Lees don't stop there. We got Franklin Lee, which is the attorney for Givens and Pursley, right? The one that did all the house signing and stuff for the university to be signed over, which yeah, that university doesn't own that thing. That's so funny. That's not signed to them. It's so funny. In fact, it's mind-boggling what they get away with, and how long they've been getting away with it. It's just so for this coach to. I know I got off on such a tangent, but man, my head's just spinning right now with all the stuff that's in my head at the moment, and it's just wow. I just need to get it out. So it's all wrapped around the sports, right? Because if you don't have sports for a university, you're just a Pobunk university. You're just another school. You're not even a college anymore. You're just a school if you don't have your football team and all the other stuff. So it just makes me wonder. I mean, I've heard stories. I've heard about hazings, about especially swim teams are the worst. I hear, and also swim teams. And what's the other one? Was it soccer or something? It was something I would never have expected. But the swim team was one of the worst. Maybe it was tennis, but it was bad. I mean, but swimming. Oh, those people. The things they put them through is unbelievable. Well, think about this. Think about the things they put the regular frat guys through who aren't doing sports, right? Where they're taping the bottles, one's a bottle of water, one's a bottle of booze, and they have to keep drinking it, and they haven't had any food. So basically, that's kind of like a slow drip waterboarding, basically, and death if you want to go there, because seriously, if you drink that much fluids and you're drinking the water just as much, and plus you're being meant to, like when you're answering questions and you get questions wrong about the fraternity because they pound it into you, all these things about the actual chapter you have to know in order to get in and be with with that chapter to be accepted in. So you have to know everything about like the founders and what all sorts of stuff. And if they don't get that question right, then they have to drink a bunch of water. Well, water, that's how the Japanese unalive themselves, is they just drink a bunch of water because it depletes your body of electrolytes. And when you don't have electrolytes in your body, nothing will function. You have to have those. And what happens when you are depleted of electrolytes is what we've been seeing in the police reports. People seizing up, tremors, convulsions, breathing, but basically unconscious, out of it, spacey, not knowing where they're at, talking gibberish. There's different stages it goes through, right? And then, of course, your body protects the major organs until the very end. It shuts down the ones that are not necessary. I mean, they're necessary, but the ones you use the least that are not as important. Save your brain for last. Brain in your heart, but everything else is shutting down. So those police reports tell it all. I mean, I don't know what I have to do to actually get it to where someone can actually visualize exactly how it works when they do what they're doing, because they're literally putting these kids so close to death every single time. I mean, some of them, I'm sure the hazings aren't quite as bad, right? They can't be all so deadly. Otherwise, there'd be a lot more gone. But there's plenty already, right? So what would it take? I mean, like I described them with the water and all that, and then going in and putting the police reports with it, and then getting the reports. Well, if you can get the reports from the frats when these kids have passed away, like Sam Martinez, for instance, or Lucas Tyler. That one right there was so sad. I mean, they're all sad. Don't get me wrong, but that one, he'd only been there 4 or 5 months, and he was a bodybuilder. He was big in sports. He liked everybody. He actually volunteered. He taught kids different sports. I mean, the guy was a family kid. I mean, he loved it. And the videos you see of it are just, they're so warm and loving and stuff, and family oriented. And you can tell in those when it's forced and when it's not, right? It was not forced. And in my opinion, and he gets there, and he's now his friends, he actually was a lucky guy, because he actually had guys that were also going out for these frats actually tell the truth and write letters to the parents and all that kind of stuff about how he was so depressed because he couldn't keep up with everything. What those guys were putting him through, the the older frats in there, it literally exhausted him. He couldn't keep up, and it was breaking him down so hard. And he always smiled, and he actually apparently went and got antidepressants. And so, but the kind that he got are those Buspirone, those, you can't even have alcohol near those. Like, literally, they tell you, we don't even want you smelling alcohol around these antidepressants. That's why I think is that one of the main reasons he went is because, here's the thing. He was on antidepressants that was a doctor prescribed. A doctor did not prescribe for those guys to tape him down his hands with alcohol and drink this alcohol, or otherwise he doesn't, they're not just only not accepted, you guys, but they're like blackballed. The rest of the time they're in school, they're picked on. It's so incredibly harsh. It's so, they're like outcasts, literally like outcasts. Can't go anywhere without people staring at them or pointing at them or talking about them. You can't sit at the same table someone's sitting to. You're not welcome anymore. And I do believe that's why some of them actually end up, why, even if they're out of a fraternity, how they end up passing. And I don't think it's from their hands. I believe it's these guys, because during this time when they're being hazed, they're learning the secrets of these fraternities and this Greek row life, right? They're learning these secrets, and these are the secrets that they're pounding into their heads. And they're doing this by punishing them if they don't get it right. But they also punish them if they do get it right. So it's not like they just get it, maybe worse if they don't. But there's certain things that they have to go through to get in there. And there's the drinking stuff. There's this is gross, but I don't know if they call it the line, whatever. But they have to stand naked, and they have to reach in between the cheeks of the other guy in front of them and grab a hold of his member. And then it's all through this whole line. And they have to walk like that in a line. And then something about if they get hard or whatever during this process, then they're just, and then it's all about putting them in. So what I've heard is then that's when they put them in that room with that music, that chant that I have, that Sigma Chi ritual chant, and they turn it up so loud. They blindfold them at first, and then they're taped to a chair, and they sit in there straight up in the chair, which is also really bad, because for that many hours you're sitting in a chair and you're not bending your legs, your blood's going to get clogged up in your legs. And when you stand up, you're in big trouble if you haven't stretched your legs out, if you haven't been able to do that. Well, they're taped. Their ankles are taped to the chair legs. Yeah. They're immobile. They can't move. They have to sit there and they have to listen to the stuff that's blaring in their ears, which could also make them deaf. I mean, it's a kind of an MK Ultra kind of thing that they're doing. Well, not kind of, it is. And it's like, where there's a whole type, I don't even know what you would call it. This community, not a community. I mean, I can't even think of what I want to call it right now, but this group of people that basically are mad scientists. I mean, because you might as well just be giving them, acid and liquid LSD and just making them go crazy, because that's basically what they're doing. And after they do these things, right, the next day, they have to act like nothing happened. But they're still in the hazing process. So they're still having to do these guys' homework, drive them places, buy them food, clean their rooms, shop for them, carry their books. And give them praise the whole time. After they did this to these kids, break them down to build them up. So basically it's breaking them down. It's like MK Ultra. They break them down into their brain, right? When your brain gets so full that it can't fathom what they're putting that through, you as a person, your own one personality, then your brain literally breaks in two. It's not literally. It's got this to protect itself, to keep you alive. It splits. That's the word I'm looking for. It splits. So that when it splits, there is created another personality. So you've got the personality you originally came with, who is the one that's being, brutalized and tortured and doing all the stuff that, and brainwashed and all this other stuff, and is in pain, because there's a lot of pain involved in this. That's the one that splits off. But the one that splits off is the one that can control that pain. It keeps it in control, under control. It basically is not even like it's just blocks things out. And then those split. So it's not just the one split. Then it splits again, depending on what's going on. Some people split, and split. Other ones, not so much. Maybe 2 or 3, 4 times. But the splits are each a different personality. And and it's depending on what that personality is put through at that time, to where they have to, what causes them to split. And the split is just to protect your original personality, your original person, you, the one you were born, how you were born, you. And the one that is protecting you, those are the ones that do the stuff like when they say contract, whaters. Those are the ones that literally go out of their brain, like they just don't even think about it. It's part of life. They've been trained to do this from the time they were born. This is not, normally this doesn't start at a certain age. This is from birth. You were born into families and things like this. Now, I'm not saying the frats are all like that, but I'm talking MK Ultra. I'm just trying to explain to you why this is so dangerous, what the fraternities are doing. Because they're creating, well, I'm just going to say it, they're creating monsters. They're creating people that do corrupt things and harm people and cheat and steal and walk all over people for their own benefit. And I'm not saying this is all of them are like this, but a big majority. That's how come they're where they're at. That's how come they're the presidents. That's how come they get the big jobs and stuff, because they have split, and that split basically confirms that code of silence, and that you do anything for your brothers. Like I think there's even a code in there that says you would die for a brother. And maybe that's what Ethan did. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I mean, don't tell anybody I read people that I said this, because I'm just saying maybe. I mean, it could, who knows? Maybe Ethan took one for the team. I don't know. I hate that saying. It's so terrible. But I really don't think that was truly what happened. But I do believe with everything in me that they knew. I think they knew the Hudson thing because they were all good friends, right? And this was, it happened. He passed away the night after the day after he was with them at their party. It was during hazing months, right? And I'm sure being the cutie pie that Hudson was and the spirited, the free spirit and soft, lovable soul that he was from what I have seen, that they had to break him good because he was soft. He was what would be considered soft. Me, I wouldn't consider that soft at all. That's just a well-rounded person. That's a person I would want to be around. And same with Ethan. I think how I refer to it is they don't have frat bones. They weren't built with frat bones. It takes a certain person, to be able to do something like that and then walk away and not think about it. Or, look, the next week they were partying. I have a video and you can hear them at Queen Road. Whose video was it? CG girl took a ladder part. Was when she was there, I think on her boots on the ground. And I think it was like during the evening and they were just standing out there, or I don't know what they were doing. And they were playing. There's a little clip of this video and you could hear these people. And it sounded like this girl was saying, sit up straight, or something like that. And they were all partying and laughing. This was I think it was the 17th. So what, 4 days after those kids were slain like that? And they're at the Queen Apartments, partying down, laughing and joking. And who knows what they were talking about, saying, yelling at them to sit up. If they were talking about them, what they made them do. I don't know. But this is, I don't know about you, but I don't ever want to know anybody like that. Someone that's not going to feel the pain and have remorse and basically, depending on what their part was in it, if their part was in, or if they had a part at all, just the sheer magnitude of what happened there and the brutality and the calculated attack, and knowing full well that the frats and the sororities knew hands down what was happening that night. I have no doubt in my mind that they didn't know something was happening that night. I don't know how people can watch those things and say that those kids didn't know. You hear people out there saying, oh, this just looks normal to me. That's just a normal college thing down at the grub truck. Oh my God. No, it is not. Oh man. But that's my passion. And that's the way I'll always be about that. No one's going to ever change my mind about that. I've watched that too many times for anybody to tell me that I am wrong when it comes to that. Because I am 100%, I'm 1,000% that what was going on down there was really, they were keeping a dang good eye. And I don't think it was like, as in protecting them, because for one, that's not what you saw on Kaylee's face when she finally looked up from that phone. That is not the look you saw on her face. Her face, and she first saw Joe Vito right in front of her. Her face was sheer. God, it had so many emotions in it. She had not what I'd say shock, but of like all of a sudden this knowing in her brain, like something that she never wanted to know, like oh my God, like everybody's looking at you, like you're on stage, like you're the one, like you're a fish in a fish tank, and everybody's just looking at you, and you're in danger because they're like draining the water out. They're all going to watch what happens as they drain the water out. That's what she looked like. She and literally, she was not astonished. What word am I? Oh, she was sad. I could tell she was sad. She was a little bit of shock, but just more. There was that pain. that just painful look I saw in her that was like, oh my God. I don't even know these people. I mean, imagine being surrounded by all the people that were there and then looking up finally from your phone and realizing that everybody is staring at you and Maddie. Everybody. How uncomfortable would that shit be? She just, I mean, I can't think of the word I want to use. Maybe there's not even a word for it, seriously, because, the first time I saw that look on her face, I literally just started crying. Because that's a look that you cannot mimic. That was a look of like, holy shit. I felt like she knew at that point. And from there on out too, if you watch her body language, it's totally different. She's still going on the phone, but you can see there's a difference in her body language. And she was aware at that point of what was going on around her without acting like she, giving it off that air that's what she was like, what she was doing. Even right up to the end, I don't know if you guys know this, but when, so they're getting their food, Maddie keeps reaching for the food and all that kind of stuff. And, she sees the reflection, Maddie sees the reflection of whatever driver pulling up in the window. So she sees that reflection. No, first she doesn't see that. No, she doesn't see that. She sees... What? Do you hear me talking in here? She sees the white truck drive by. And she says to Kaylee, we better get something like, we better get a Uber, we better get an Uber or a ride, or I don't remember exactly the word she said, but basically we better get a ride because there's that white truck. We better call a cab. That's what she said. It's something like that. And Kaylee saw it, and then she recognized it. You have to slow the video way down to see this because it happens so fast, but it's there. And she says, Kaylee acknowledges it, and you can see this look on her face. It's like this blank, look like almost like this shock, basically, like a deer in headlights. That's what I'm thinking of. That's kind of like that. Like, now what? How am I going to get out of this one? And so then the driver of the vehicle that's picking them up pulls up. And Maddie points, and she's like, oh, and then Maddie kind of gets this look on her face like, oh, like that's not the person. Like, that's not who was supposed to actually pick us up, but then kind of blows it off like Maddie was doing, like, kind of like with the freaking Cody Poe. She's like, and Kaylee didn't. Kaylee saw who it was, and Kaylee didn't want to go. That's what I saw. And Maddie was like, oh, no, it's okay. It's all right. Come on, let's just go. Let's get out of here. And she grabs the food and she takes off. So, of course, Kaylee's going to go after her, right? But in my opinion, whoever pulled up there, that's not who they were expecting for their ride. Now, with that said, what did you tell Adam? Well, you guys, Adam was an Uber driver. Adam was getting set to go 2 weeks after this to Spain to set up his own franchise called Uber Eats. So basically a food delivery Uber. That was what he was going there for. I saw the video. He had 2 videos on his YouTube channel, and they're since taken down. And I wish I would have got, oh, my cat just sneezed. And I wish I would have had the gumption then to record. I didn't even know how to screen record back then. So, but I did get screenshots of the transcript on one of them, not the Uber Eats one, but the other one. I do have a picture of the Uber Eats where he's got he's standing at a table and he's got like a flag of Spain behind him, and he's in a suit and everything. But I don't have the transcript for that, but I definitely heard it, and I watched it several times over and told tons of people about it, because I was literally, he had like 6 views, I think, on there when I found it. And by the time it was done, I think he had like 300 or something like that, because I was telling everybody, you got to go see this. You got to go see this. And I don't know if anybody actually did, grabbed a hold of it. Trev might have. I don't know what he grabbed and what he didn't, because I would told, I watched him when I first got on, and then I just kind of, there's a couple, one thing happened. I was like done with that. I was so turned off I was getting there already with what was going on in that channel, but boy, I don't remember what it was, but I was like, no way, I'm never watching this channel again, and I never did. But so how come why wouldn't that not be Adam? Why hasn't Adam been thought about as the Uber driver? Here's the parents saying that he was a good friend. Well, Jack and him were good friends. They lived in the same house, right? We're in the same fraternity. Sure, Adam and him would be good friends. So that would make basically the parents say, oh yeah, he's a good, he's a friend. That makes perfect sense to me. And I didn't they actually at one point say family friend? I could have sworn they said family friend too at one point. But then again, it's a ride share. It's a private driver. It's an Uber driver. It's a cab. They can't make up their mind from one day to the next. Same with the times when the texting ends. Olivia can't make up her mind on that one. She finally settled on one, but boy, it took her a while. She's all over the map on that. And how in the heck did she get Maddie's text from Maddie's phone? How did she know Maddie had called? Was she tapped into Maddie's phone as well? So many questions. And I didn't set out to actually talk about this, you guys, at all. I set out to do this with this coach right here. Not this coach, but whoever this dude is. Sorry. Once again, I'm telling you, it's a friend zone. You're going to be seeing a lot of this next few days, so get ready to roll. Okay. Yikes.
Finally, I want to thank everyone both locally and around the country who provided input and guidance to me on candidates, as well as our senior administrators who are here today, Dave Williams, Amy Beggin, and Jalen Dominguez, who served as key advisors throughout the search. When we began the search process, I knew our football program and community needed stability. Where some might see challenges, I see opportunities. Interest in the position was strong, from current and former head coaches to elite coordinators and assistant coaches. I knew we needed a true program builder, someone who has demonstrated that with the right culture, a relentless commitment to recruiting and competitive excellence, a great staff, the ability to connect with student athletes and the community, that anything is possible.
Especially anything is possible if this fight stuff happens and you don't want anybody to know about it, and you don't want to have to pay out like lawsuits or whatever. You don't want the school to be blemished by it or tarnished by it. So anything can happen. So what they do, anything, that guy can do anything. Let's ship them out. They were traded immediately. There was like 7 or 8 of them traded the next day, you guys. I don't have the names of them, but I probably still have the article somewhere. It was very well hidden, and of course I'm not going to let that out. But 7 of them, boom, 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 gone, traded. Didn't even bat an eye. So yeah, he's capable. He's great at that. So if you want to build your school up and get, I don't know. I guess you just have to step all over people and cause ruckus and get off scot-free and put people in the hospital and in order to get that, huh? Is that what it takes? Well, I'll show you a video this guy did. I just stumbled on this guy. I don't even know how I found this guy. I've not seen any other videos. A clip of another one, but he had this one video that made so much freaking sense to me. Am I over almost an hour on here? Oh my God. I'm at I'll tell you what. I need to remember that video. You guys remind me in comments about the mosh pit. It has to do with a mosh pit. And he explains corporations by watching a video of a mosh pit. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. You come up here, little girl. Come here. Come on. Okay, there you go. Okay.
We found all of that and more in Coach Eck.
Oh, I bet.
Coach Eck's accomplishments speak for themselves. He is one of only 6 current college coaches who has led an FCS team to the playoffs in each of the last 3 years. He led Idaho to a 26-13 overall record during his tenure, including 2 trips to the FCS quarterfinals while playing a top 10 strength of schedule every year. His teams have finished nationally ranked every season and twice in the top 10. He has coached 32 players to all conference honors and another 16 to honorable mention honors. His 3 straight winning seasons was the first time that it happened at Idaho in 3 decades. This year, Idaho went 10-4, the first 10-win season for the program since 1988. The year before, he led them to 9 wins, and his first year started with 7, having taken over a program that only won 4 the year before he started. So from 4 to 7 to 9 to 10, that is building a program. Coach,
I wonder what they're paying him for this. You know damn well this guy's getting some money, honey. And his wife and his kids, they're like little robots. Like, she is the perfect Stepford wife look-alike. That woman, like, when you look at her out there, like, he's this big guy. He's a heavy-set guy. He's fat. He's a big, heavy, overweight guy. And she wears her leopard print and her little cheerleading outfits, and her kids are all dressed in the same, attire. Like, the little girl, it's just, literally, you guys know what Stepford Wives, that show, right? It just reminds me of this family. Well, you saw him sitting there, right? Wait, you're going to see more. I mean, if you go through his Instagram page, oh my God, it's like so, it's painful for me to see. It's just painful. I don't get that kind of stuff. I've never been able to get that kind of stuff. It does not compute in my brain. It just doesn't. I've never been ever wanted. I could probably have been, but I never ever wanted to be anything of a trophy to anybody. Ever. Because I'm my own person. And that just is creepy to me. Very creepy. And it's like I said, it's a family of like robots, and they're all like all peppy and all, they're always, and I was like, oh, yuck.
Eck has a comprehensive plan for his program anchored by 4 pillars: accountability, toughness, grit, and urgency. He will use those pillars to chase excellence on and off the playing field, and he will also ensure that New Mexico...
Did you just hear that? To chase this excellence on and off the field. You just said a mouthful, dude. Wow. Did you hear that? Oh, my goodness. He'll do whatever it takes. No holds barred, man. None. Wow. And look at his face right here. Look at this. Let's just make him bigger right here for now.
Mexico football continues to be an integral part of this university and community. Every person I spoke to throughout the process who knew Coach Eck rave about what kind of man he is. And when you get a chance to spend time with him, you will see what I see. A coach, yes, but also a role model and a family man. We are thrilled to welcome Coach Eck and his wife, Kimberly, and their children, Quentin, Jackson, Palmer, Maverick, and little Lola, to the Lobo family. It is my absolute honor and pleasure to introduce to you the new head football coach of the University of New Mexico, Coach Jason Eck.
That's not big enough. That's actually tiny.
Can't see it. We'll get it in the front. Yeah. I got it.
It's like shit. That's for my wife.
Appreciate it. Well, Frank's getting in trouble already. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out today. I'm so honored to be your head football coach here at the University of New Mexico, and thank you so much to this great administrative team, President Stokes, Fernando, Jalen, Amy, David. There's so many great people that I got to visit with through this process that give me so much confidence and the support that we're going to have here to be successful at the University of New Mexico. And I'm very thankful to the people at Idaho. They gave me my first opportunity to be a head coach, and gave me an opportunity to build on and learn how to turn a program around. And I learned a lot in those 3 years. I'm excited now to bring what I've learned there and take that to the next step. So very thankful to President Green, AD Terry Golick, and all the people there. One of the things that I learned there and was able to get connected with is they had a great string of coaches who were able to cut their teeth and have their first opportunity at Idaho and then go on to have a ton of success at the FBS level. And when I met with Dennis Erickson, Keith Gilbertson, John L. Smith, Chris Tormey, I learned a lot. I asked those guys questions. I wanted to know, what they had learned, where they had gone right, where they had, if they had to do things over again would change, and really gave me a lot of confidence to take on a great opportunity like this. And I really do, just like Fernando said, I see this as an opportunity.
Last night we had a huge storm, and it took out both my canopies. Yeah, pretty bad. And the amount of sticks and branches and rain and just oh my gosh, it was so loud, and it just rocked it. And then the power went out, and all you could hear was all these noises. Anyway, when I tried to put her in her catio today, she didn't want to stay there for very long, because I think she was remembering what that sound was, because she came right up, man, she didn't want to get any further from me than, she was right up next to me, during all those sounds. She didn't like it very much at all. So then when it got dark, she's like, oh crap. I could see her because I had, like my phone light and stuff, and she was just looking all around, and just like her head was constantly just going back and forth. So she can't decide what she wants to do today. She wants outside, but when she gets there, she gets a little freaky if a little bit of wind comes up or whatever. But I'm trying to get her outside because it's a nice day today, and I don't think we're going to get many more nice days. So I probably should I probably should actually get up here and just cut this short and do it again, maybe a two-parter. Let me see how long this is. Oh yeah, look at this. This is another. I've only got 9 minutes on the freaking video. Oh my God, I talk a lot. Okay, I'm going to cut this short right now. I might just put this one up and then go back and do the other part of it after I get a few things done, because it's already over an hour, you guys. I'm so sorry. I went right off the path, didn't I? Okay, she wants out. I'm going to cut this short with this face right here. And I'm going to take a screenshot, because we are not a good way to hold it. And so I have to move it and use both hands to actually take a screenshot. And there's got to be a different way. This cannot be the way I have to do this whole time. Okay, love you guys. I will be finishing this up, because this is important, I believe. Yeah. Okay. Have a great day. Sorry for all the chattering. Blah.